Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum talibat. I hope you are all okay. I'm trying to record a video for you to explain our second lecture. We started with chapter 1. We discussed this chapter and we showed the importance of the philosophy of facts and how the writer tries to show the wrongness and the negative effect of this issue. So he tried to highlight this problem in the first paragraph, and then he described the character of Gradgrind and how factual is he in the way he is described, and then their intentions in representing the students just like vessels which are to be filled with facts. This is the importance of chapter 1. Chapter 2 is entitled Murdering the Innocents, and we explained this in detail, but I'm just trying to give you a simple review for what we did here. We started with the title of the chapter, Murdering the Innocents, killing those students, which means suffocating them with facts. It started with an accurate description of the character of Gradgrind and how he is described by the writer in terms of calculations and facts, a man who proceeds upon the principle that 2 and 2 are 4. So this is the kind of person we are going to deal with for the rest of the novel until the very end, where he is going to change a little bit. We mentioned a few important aspects of this chapter, and we talked about how Gradgrind is described at the beginning, and then we referred to their presentation of Sissy. I explained also that the writer tries to present some characters in every chapter. So we met Mr. Gradgrind. He has been introduced in chapter 1 and elaborated in chapter 2, and now we have an introduction of Sissy Jupe, the representative of the circus school, the opposite school of Facts, and how she is represented in a number. This is how the school system it does not consider the normal names of students. It depends on numbers, which means that it deals with facts and numbers. This kind of school, we have Sissy and how it has been represented in this school, considered as number 20, and how Mr. Gradgrind made fun of her father's name and reproached her not to call herself Sissy because this name is silly. She is supposed to call herself Cecilia, and he also objected her father's being as a circus man. He told her he is a horse breaker and then a veterinary surgeon. Later we had some idea about how the school system run, and we had questions asked by an officer who represent the government, and this idea gives us the writer tells us how this system is supported by the government, because the government sends officers to follow up and to evaluate the system they adopt and follow in the schools. So the writer here tries to criticize and satirize this kind of system. Sissy is being asked about the definition of a horse, which was very common at her own time because there were no cars. Horses were everywhere, were part of the family. Bitzer, the the clever students of the School of Facts, identified and defined actually the horse in such a factual way: quadruped, graminivorous, 40 teeth, etc. And here Sissy is proved um, let's say, idiot or unable to deal with facts. Later, when people are asked whether they can paint their room with papers, with paintings, and we explained this and how Sissy accepted the idea because this will make her fancy and imagine, which is unacceptable in the school of facts. Here we try to skip the things we don't need. I try to highlight the things we need. Sissy, you would carpet your room or your husband's room with representations of flowers, would you? Said the gentleman. Why would you? If you please, sir, I'm fond of flowers, returned the girl, and that's why you would put tables and chairs upon them. It wouldn't hurt them, they wouldn't crush and wither, if you please. They would be the picture of what was pretty and pleasant, and I would fancy. This is the most word that the school system does not like in their own ideology. So now the writer or the character of the teacher objected this word and said, I, you must not fancy, you are not allowed to do this here. So Gradgrind said fact, 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 said, and fact, 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 repeated Thomas Gradgrind. So this school is about facts. Nothing else is allowed in this school. And then we are introduced to the character of Mr. Amchokamchild, who will proceed to give lessons to the students. Then another character is represented. I just wanted to remind you with the meaning. The choking of children. خنق الأطفال. So this is the meaning of the name of the school teacher. So where did he come from? Amchokamchild began in his best manner. He and some 140 other schoolmasters. He and one more 140 schoolmasters had been lately trained at the same time in the same factory on the same principles, like so many pianoforte legs. So the writer tries to say that there are so many versions of Amchokamchild who are manufactured, made, created in factories that belong to the government and sent out to destroy the minds of the students. So he is attacking this fact and saying that this is not acceptable and this will destroy the educational system of the country. Later we refer to the story of Morgiana and the 40 Thieves, a story from Arabic literature. Ali Baba and Morgiana, when they were a kind of thieves, tried to steal them. Morgiana has heated some oil and poured the oil in the vessels where the thieves hid themselves. So she tried to kill those thieves who were hiding in these vessels. The same process is being repeated here. It is a kind of illusion, and it is borrowed to the story of Dickens, where Amchokamchild tried to use these facts and pour them in these vessels, and it tries to kill them or suffocate them. So this is the importance of chapter 2. Chapter 3 is entitled Loophole. Mr. Gradgrind was in his work at the school. He was coming back, and in his way back he walked by the circus which was running in the city, and then he was let's say astonished and surprised to see that his kids are peeping on the circus. So many details are available here which are not very important. We can skip things that are not related to our work. Thomas Gradgrind took no heed of these trivialities, of course. He considered the circus and the amusement of people as something trivial, which he did not like. He passed as a practical man ought to pass on, either brushing the noisy insects from his thoughts or consigning them to the house of correction. So a number of children were congregated in a number of stealthy attitudes, striving to peep يسترقون النظر in at the hidden glories of the place about the circus. This brought him to a stop now to think of these vagabonds. هؤلاء المتشردين, said he, attracting the young rabble from a model school, a space of stunned grass. So, dumb with amazement, Mr. Gradgrind crossed the spot where his family was thus disgraced, laid his hand upon each erring child, and said, Louisa, Thomas. So those children who were peeping at the circus were his own children. Here it is important to understand how Thomas and Louisa react toward their father. This will give us some insight on the type of character they have. So you will see how submissive is the character of Tom and how challenging and powerful is the character of Louisa. In the name of wonder, idleness, and folly, said the Gradgrind, what do you do here in the circus? Wanted to see what it was like, returned Louisa shortly. What it was like? Yes, father. And then some description of the character of Louisa, a child now, 15 or 16, but at no distant day would seem to become a woman all at once. Her father thought so as he looked at her. Thomas, though I have the fact before me, I find it difficult to believe that you with your education and resources should have brought your sister to scene like this. And Louisa challengingly responds, I brought him, father, said Louisa quickly. I asked him to come. I am sorry to hear it. I am very sorry indeed to hear it. It makes Thomas no better, and it makes you worse, Louisa. So here started the kind of clash between the father and the children, and you see here how Thomas is, young Tom, how he is submissive to his father. And here we have the challenging viewpoint of Louisa when she says, I was tired, father. Of course, she was tired of being filled with facts, because as a child she doesn't have any chance to, let's say, to have fun or amuse herself. So she was very tired from the kind of life she had. So she says, I was tired, father. I have been tired a long time, said Louisa. Tired of what? Asked the astonished father. I don't know of what, of everything, I think. So she was tired of her life. She was not accepting the life she has because it does not have that kind of amusing part in her life. And he says, say not another word, Gradgrind, you are childish, I will hear no more. Then he referred simply to the character of Bounderby. He said, what would Mr.